It's likely that the International Olympic Committee could soon ban trans women completely from competing in female categories at the Olympics. And while recent reports claim that a ban could take shape before the Winter Games in Milan, the IOC said this week that its decision likely won't be made until next summer. Here's what we know right now. Back in 2021, the IOC urged international sport federations to create their own guidelines for the eligibility of trans athletes in lieu of having a blanket rule prohibiting trans women from competing in women's divisions. And that has led to wildly different approaches from different sports and a whole lot of confusion. But all that changed in June when the IOC's newly appointed president, Kirsty Coventry, opened up new discussions about the participation of trans athletes after she campaigned to protect the, quote, female category. Coventry set up the Protection of the Female Category Working Group in September, which, according to the IOC, is continuing discussions on the topic with no official decisions made just yet. But it was reported that Dr. Jane Thornton, the IOC's Director of Health, Medicine, and Science, presented a review of the working group's findings last week, alleging that trans women have, quote, permanent physical advantages. And let's be clear, study after study has not shown any competitive advantage for trans women. A study from just last year found that trans women could even be at a physical disadvantage compared to their cis peers. And this probing into trans athletes at the Olympics follows a slew of targeted and baseless attacks on trans women and girls in competitive sports across the board. It also coincides with US President Donald Trump's executive order banning trans girls from gendered sports in schools that receive federal funding, as well as his plans to bar transgender athletes from competing at the 2028 Games in LA. Let's be clear, the actual number of openly trans competitors at the Olympic Games is so incredibly small, and arbitrary qualifiers of biological sex in competitive sports can have adverse effects on intersex people, athletes with differences of sexual development, and even the cis women that these rules are supposed to protect. Remember everything that happened in that panic over Amman Khalif? This potential new policy could take shape next year, but there are still a lot of unknowns, particularly when it comes to how it's rolled out and enforced, and whether a ban like this could face legal challenges too.